Why should Canadians care about what happens in the Ukraine?
Well, I think the first thing to mention is that Canadians should care about what happens in Ukraine because Canada is a part of the international community. European security is important to Canadian security. Canada, of course, is a part of NATO, which Ukraine is not, but Russian aggression against Ukraine threatens not only Ukraine, but also the European continent. And so it should be an issue top of mind for Canadian security. And of course, Russia is not only Ukraine's neighbor, it is also Canada's neighbor. And so this is something that, Canadians should keep in mind as well, that, a country that is an aggressor state against another country, Ukraine, is also our neighbor and frankly, our adversary as well. So, from a Canadian security perspective, what happens in Ukraine and what happens with Russia are certainly very important.
Okay, can you give our viewers a little bit of a background to the Ukrainian crisis? Because obviously this is this happens every so often, and I was thinking our viewers might want to get just a little bit of a background.
Sure. I think the first thing to remember is that the Russian-Ukrainian war has been ongoing for 8 years. So this current flare-up and this current crisis is not out of nowhere. This is part of a war that Russia has been waging against Ukraine for 8 years. In February 2014, Russia invaded Crimea, which is southern Ukraine, and occupied Crimea. And then in spring of 2014, invaded the two eastern Ukrainian oblasts of Donetsk and Luhansk, parts of which are still under Russian occupation. In that war, about 13,000 people were killed. Over 30,000 wounded, 1.5 million internally displaced in Ukraine. And there's fighting daily on the line that separates Russian troops from Ukrainian troops in eastern Ukraine. So this is not a war that may start. It's a war that started 8 years ago and has been ongoing since then.
I agree. And not only that, I mean, wasn't it in 2015 that the Belgian government had determined that it was a Russian missile that had knocked down a Malaysian airplane around Ukrainian airspace?
So in 2014, in July, a Malaysian flight MH17 was flying over eastern Ukraine and was shot down by what has now been determined to be a Russian Buk missile system.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. We're going to come right back.